Super Bowl is in the books, but the drama in the sports world is far from over. On this episode of No Overtime, we break down the Eagles' dominant win, a shocking NBA blockbuster sending Luka to LA, and the heated MVP race. And also, what went wrong with the All-Star game? Remember,
No OT tonight.
Welcome back to No Overtime. I'm Jake Goodman alongside with
Michael Cantilli, and we'll be talking about our Super Bowl takeaways, one of the biggest trades in NBA history, the MVP race, and the NBA All-Star game.
All right, so let's start off with the Super Bowl. The Eagles beat the Chiefs 40-22 behind Jalen Hurts and a great defensive performance.
Yeah, Hurts played one of the best games of his career. He finished with 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, 72 yards, and a rushing touchdown, and it gave him the Super Bowl MVP.
Mm-hmm. And his receivers played well. Devontae Smith had 4 catches for 67 yards and a 46-yard touchdown to pretty much seal the game.
Yeah, and then rookie cornerback Cooper DeJean had a 38-yard pick six to give the Eagles momentum in that game. That was pretty much a dagger for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and Josh Sweat had a great game too. He could have won MVP. He had 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, and 6 total tackles.
Yeah, the Eagles' defense really made Mahomes look like an average quarterback. I mean, forcing multiple turnovers in a game like that, that's something we've never really seen from Mahomes before.
Now moving from the Super Bowl to the NBA, let's talk about one of the most shocking trades in NBA history, Luka Doncic going to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy trade. A future MVP was traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick.
Yeah, when we heard the news, it didn't really make sense. Luka's been the best player for the Mavs for years. He's coming off a finals appearance, and he's like 6 years younger than Davis, so it really didn't make any sense. What do you think? Why do you think Dallas did this deal?
I mean, the Mavs GM said that they needed someone with like a defensive presence to kind of match their young offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that like they need that defensive presence with Anthony Davis, but he's 31. He can't really stay healthy. That's always been a concern. And Luka's only 25, so I think it's a really risky move for the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm. And also, the Lakers originally traded Dalton Connect to the Hornets for Mark Williams, but that trade got reversed after Mark Williams failed his physical. So now they only have like Jackson Hayes as their big man.
Yeah, and on the Lakers side of things, with new coach J.J. Redick, the starting lineup looks strong. You got Doncic running the one, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron, and then Jackson Hayes.
Mm-hmm. It's a really good lineup, but what do you think are some of the strengths and weaknesses of this new Lakers lineup after the deadline?
Well, the strength obviously is scoring. With Luka, LeBron, and Reeves and Rui, they've both been really solid scorers this year. But defensively, I think is definitely a concern. You're losing one of the best defenders in the league in Davis. Obviously LeBron, he's never been that great of a defender. And obviously Doncic he's a bad defender too.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson Hayes is a really bad rim protector. So I think you're losing a lot of defense by trading away Davis.
Yeah, and as for the Mavs, Davis, it's crazy. He only played one game. He played really well, but he's going to be hurt for a bit. They did also get Max Christie, and he's playing like a young star. He's averaging 17 points a game since the trade. And, if Davis could stay healthy and Kyrie, he needs to step it up too, they could be a sneaky team to maybe come out of the West.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta hope that Davis can come back from this injury strong. Looking in the long term, they could win the trade, especially with Luka struggling these first few games with the Lakers.
Yeah, so we'll see how that all pans out. Now let's talk about the MVP race. We're past the halfway mark of the season, so who's standing out to you for the MVP?
Well, I mean, obviously my top pick is Nikola Jokic. He's averaging just under 30 points and a triple-double with 12.5 rebounds and 10 assists. I mean, they call him the Joker for a reason.
Yeah, he does it all. He's making his case for his 4th MVP, which could put him in the conversation for the greatest center of all time.
Yeah.
Who else do you think stands out to you?
I mean, even though I think he's a free throw merchant, I got to go with SGA. 32.5 points a game. He leads the league. 5.1 rebounds, 6.1 assists. I mean, those are crazy stats, and he's carrying Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. And then you got to talk about Giannis. He's always a guy we often see in the MVP conversation. He's averaging 32, 12, and 6. The Bucks kind of started off slow, but if they could step it up and get into the playoffs, he's always there. But it's gonna be hard for him to win this year.
Yeah, it's a tight race right now. And these three are making it a tough pick. We've got one more topic today, and it's an important one. What's going on with the All-Star game? I've seen a lot of complaints, especially after this year's All-Star game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were not happy. The biggest issue seemed to be how quick the game went. They used that tournament style, and the games were over quickly with just a target score of 40 points, and it seemed like there wasn't a lot of basketball being played.
Yeah, and many of the rising star players that played on Sunday night was a head scratcher. You know, they shouldn't be competing. You know, they're not all stars. You know, people are going to start calling these rising stars all stars, even though they haven't really earned the right to be called that yet. And the commercials were also an issue too. You know, there was more stoppage than actual basketball.
Yeah. You know, fans just want to watch the All-Stars play. This only happens once a year. These guys work really hard, and it looks like there was a lack of effort from the players. You know, no defense and barely any hustle.
Yeah, so what do you think the solution is to fix this?
You know, I think there's really only one solution. I think they should go back to the old format, have a East versus West 4-quarter game with 10-minute quarters, and I think they should give home court advantage in the NBA Finals to the winning conference. It'll actually make the players want to try hard.
Yeah, I think that would definitely make the players play harder, and I would be in on something like that.
You know, these are just like a few easy fixes that the NBA can do, and, you know, thinking back to like the 2010 All-Star games, 2015, 2016, those All-Star games were really fun, aside from the dunk contest and three-point contest. So we just got to hope they can go back to what it was once like.
All right, we've covered a lot today. The Super Bowl, Luka's crazy trade, the MVP race, and the All-Star game disaster. We're going to be back with more next time, so make sure to stay tuned. And thank you for watching No Overtime this week. But we'll be back with more hot takes and the latest in sports.